Welcome, Evan. How are you?
All right. Hey, what's up, Kris? Nice to meet you finally.
You as well, man. You as well. Glad to have you on the show. I can't wait to hear this story, man. It seems like you've got a crazy ride through life and are ending up in a great spot to be able to do a lot of good in the world. So kudos to you, brother.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Yeah,
So,
it's been a really interesting ride for sure.
so tell
I
us
grew
your
up
story.
I grew up in Connecticut. Well, I was raised like till I was about 12 in Connecticut, and then came down to Florida when I was like in my teenage years and stuff. My parents split up, but my mom was a professional musician singing blues and folk music. So I was always around like shows and recording studios and TV studios and stuff. So um yeah, so I kind of like gravitated towards music, but I tried playing guitar. I wasn't really that good. And when I was about 16, I found some software where I could like multi-track and do it like put whatever I wanted on there.
Well,
So
wait, was
I
this
would play
like the
guitar.
90s or what? I mean, I know we're both old, so
This
like,
was 90, yeah, and I think it was like 98 or something. And it was because I bought a subwoofer for my truck, and
were you in
and
a
I was like, I got
desirable
to go
mini?
get a yeah, I had to get a bass CD so I could test out the sub to see whatever. But on the bass CD, there was actually like a software so that you could write your own music. So that's I got onto that, and that kind of like that took off and took all my attention away from guitars and stuff like that, and I started getting into like electronic music because it was like really popping back then. That was like like the new thing. um
Yeah.
so
I was actually in
got into
Orlando
that.
at that time at Club Firestone and Edge with Icy and D
Hmm.
Extreme and Kaoki and all those guys. And that's when I was, so I'm probably in the same age bracket. Were you there during that time?
Yeah, I'm 43, but I wasn't out there. I was probably more in Connecticut, and
This would have
yeah,
been
I didn't
96,
really get out.
97.
Yeah, I didn't really. No, I was too young.
Yeah, I'm
I
48.
was probably
It
like
was,
16.
it already died at
Yeah, I'm
the,
43, so
the Edge had already turned into 8 seconds by then.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I didn't get to go there, but I think I mean, skipping around here, I get like just recently I used to play at, I guess it was the old Edge. They turned it into the motorcycle museum restaurant place called Ace.
What is it? That's what it
So
is
we
now.
played. Yeah, well now it's done. I think they're gonna open a new one in Sanford, but I'm not sure.
Oh,
That's just what I've heard through the grapevine. Um, but yeah. Anyway, yeah, I got into DJing, started DJing in Connecticut, did a couple of things like for like B-boy nights. We had like a night where we'd set up linoleum in an art studio, and guys would come out and break dance, and like they were really really good. But that's how I started doing break beats on turntables on vinyl,
yeah.
and then uh, that kind of took off when I was 18. Went to work in the national park up in Wyoming, and got really like loved it out there. Stayed for I went out for the summer, but I stayed for like another winter and another year. Ended up getting a residency DJing in a place called the Shady Lady Saloon, and that was at the bottom of the ski hill in town in Jackson. Um, and Yeah, every Tuesday night we'd play there, and it became bigger and bigger and more fun. And I started bringing people on to do like live performances with me. I had a couple of my friends that played didgeridoo, so they came out and they would play didgeridoo, and I was playing like tribal house with breaks and then going into drum and bass, like dropping the drum and bass from 45 to 33 and mixing into breaks, and then like ending it like just total mayhem. And man, some of those were the best memories of my DJ life ever.
The Shady
And
Lady, huh? At the base of the
actually,
mountain,
yeah,
Jackson Hole, Wyoming.
and actually, Yep,
Yep.
yep,
I've
yep,
been to those
Jacksonville.
places,
Got
man,
all
and let
my
me tell you,
friends out there.
The DJs out there at those ski resorts look like they're living the life. And my buddy
Yeah,
Rodney O, Rodney O was out at Mammoth Mountain out in California. He passed away. Rest in peace, Rod. But he was amazing, dude. And this guy lived the dream life out there because he had the resident gig at the local watering hole over there, and he would every year just had these cool parties and got paid all this money. And I was like, man, you're living the right life. Like this is good stuff right
yep,
here. So yeah, I don't feel sorry
and
for you at
everybody
all for that job and for that career that you found. I mean, tell
yeah,
us
I
what.
mean, but everybody's there for one reason. I mean, everybody's there for for the skiing and the snowboarding, you know, like, so it's like everybody's already like the whole community is already like glued together by a passion, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
Everything else is just like icing on the cake, you know. And it
yeah.
was cool because I went and worked at the mountain in the mornings in the parking lot, and then I got done probably by 2 o'clock, and I could snowboard for 3 hours for free every single day, and on my days off if I wanted to. Um, and then at night I would go and work at the brewery in town, the Snake River Brewery. So I got into beer big time. I'm a big beer snob too. I
Oh,
love
really?
beer. Yeah.
You're an IPA guy?
Um, I love IPAs. Yes, I love
IPAs?
many. I
That's the
love.
only beer I can't drink because it makes me angry, and I don't know why. Can you tell me why? Because I read it
Oh,
online.
really?
It says IPAs, yes, they
Wow.
affect certain people a certain way, like different brews. And I was like, I mean, I think every time I've tested it, and it's like, nope, I'm gonna have one IPA, and if actually I accidentally drink it, I'm all of a sudden angry, and I'm never angry. I'm like, huh,
Mhm.
all right, so
Yeah, I've heard a lot of stuff like that. Like people with different liquors too. Like I know people that drink gin and they go off the rails, and
yeah, yeah, I guess we
you know,
all have.
whiskey too.
Yeah, it's
You
crazy.
know,
Anyway, we'll get sidetracked on the
every
alcohol thing. We'll talk about that later.
yeah, but anyway, yeah. So I was playing out there a whole bunch, and then I got a call from a manager of a couple of my friends that I worked with before up in Connecticut from Connect Beats. Like my buddy Arun, he was the guy that kind of got me into DJing and turntablism and stuff. And he was like, "Hey, you know, we got a guy that's booking us, and he's got a show for you out in Poland if you want to go." I'm like, "Yeah, that would be awesome." You know, he's like, "Well, he's like, if you can pay for your ticket, he'll get you the shows, and then you should be able to pay, you know, it should pay off your ticket or whatever when you're there." I'm like, "Okay, cool." But, you know, I just turned 21. I'm like, "This is the coolest thing ever," you know? I'm like, "Whatever." Um, I tried to buy a plane ticket, but I was just a little short, so I had to buy a bus ticket, and I had to take a bus from Idaho to New York, and I'll tell you, that was the weirdest bus trip I've ever that's the first time I've ever ridden a bus in my life, and it was the weirdest. I met the
Ne-
weirdest people
Needless
I've
to
ever
say,
met in
that
my
could be its
entire
own
life on that
podcast.
trip.
We'll do it. Evan Gamble Lewis too. The bus ride.
Yeah.
That'll be our
Yeah,
next one.
if you want a good podcast, man, you just
Just
take a
the
bus across
just
the
the
country
bus.
and you got a year's worth of content,
You're
man.
like
I'm telling you.
all you can fill, huh?
Oh yeah. Oh, I met a guy who was like he knew everything about how to make French fries, and this dude was like super deep on everything about a fryer.
Really?
And I'm telling you, 3 hours that I was probably a hostage in this situation,
There was no way to
listening to
go
this guy
anywhere.
tell me everything about a fryer. But anyway, that's besides the point. But I went out to Poland. I played my first show. I think I'd probably only played for 300 people max in my life before this one. And I show up and they got my name on the screen and there's 3,000 people in here. It's this big mega club. And I remember like when it was my turn, my manager came up, got me to like go up to play, and I got up there and like my knees started shaking, my hands were like sweating, like I was like, I'm not a real
Uh-oh.
DJ. I'm not a real DJ. I can't do this shit. I can't do this shit. He's like, you are a professional. You get up there, man. Like, okay. So I got up there and I played like a couple of the easiest tracks I knew how to mix, like that were kind of like, it was kinda like
You could,
that ace in the hole. I
yeah,
know
you
how
could
to
do it with
know
your
how to
eyes closed. You didn't have to think about it. I mean,
exactly. Yeah, so I did that and got through some of that, and then boom, I was like, then I was in it, and I was like, this is awesome. So once the anxiety and all that nervous tension went away, then it was like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
exactly. Well, that's
so
kind of like I teach people all the time. Everything you want in life is on the other side of what you're afraid of. I swear the
that's
biggest
yeah,
blessings in
yeah,
my life have come from overcoming fear for whatever that is. And you and I are actually working on that right now with another thing, but we'll talk about that one later too. But yeah, yeah, that's one of those things where like you were afraid, and had you given in and walked away, you'd never become the guy you are today. And you didn't. You faced the fear down, and you got out there. And I imagine by the fifth track, you were probably having the time of your life, feeling the energy move in the room and everything else. Like that was probably most
yeah.
one of the most insane feelings you've ever felt in your life.
The most, like
The
probably like
most.
it was yeah, the most. That was it was like, but you never get another feeling like that. It's like that first time where you're like, whoa, you
Yeah,
know,
exactly.
and
That happened.
yeah, um, but yeah, that so it was cool because they really liked it. There was a funny story. I got halfway through the set and I played a record I thought was only one track, but I ran out of time and the record just like went into silence, and I was like, oh no, and I get up there and like everybody starts cheering and like I caught the first beat on the second track and just
Made it work.
and then threw it in, and they just went nuts. And then I was like, okay, I think I could do this because
Yeah,
if I can catch all my mistakes and turn them into something cool, then I'm gonna be fine.
yeah,
And
that's
that was like, you know, that was my biggest fear, and it happened that night on the first big show that I ever played,
isn't
and I
that
was like,
funny how
oh,
that
okay, it's not
works?
gonna be bad.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
it was
like, I
like,
ever overcame the fear. I got this, and then all of a sudden, silence, and you're like,
yeah.
no. And you're like, go with it, go with it, go with it, go with it. I got it. Like all in
Yeah,
your head, but
yeah,
everything else just looks normal. It's just like he's fine. I've like DJs do that like at least
yeah.
10 times a set, and they don't even know what's going on. They're just catching the record,
I
man.
know, I know.
Especially in vinyl days, right?
Um, I know a lot of the, you know, really good DJs, you won't know when they mess up because they'll figure out a way to
It's not a mess up.
turn
It's
it
just
into
a
something.
customization.
Yeah. But that show, long story short, it turned into 73 shows, and I stayed there for about 9 months, and we did like Poland, Austria, Czech, Germany, and um, did several tours and some residency stuff, and then finally, I just really missed being home, and I had a bunch of more shows that were booked, and I was just like, I really want to go home. 9 months is a lot, like when you're away from home. I just honestly, man, I wanted like terrible food. I miss terrible food. Everything over there was like super healthy, and you know what? I had the best time of my life. The people over there that I met, everybody, they were so nice. They were so welcoming. I had the best, you know, best time of my life over there. Um, But, yeah, coming back, the first thing I did was went to Bennigan's, remember that place?
Oh my god, I love Bennigan's. They were amazing. They had the best
Yeah.
game night on like Wednesday nights where they would hide stuff in there. It was like anyway, yeah, yeah. I haven't heard that word in a while. I
Yeah,
love that.
no, I miss that place, man, but I went there and I got the biggest burger with fries and just, like, wolfed that thing down. Yeah, it was great. But,
You were happy to be
but yeah,
back.
from
You're like,
there
I'm home. I'm home. I had my
yeah.
good food. So you came back to Florida at what age? After you did New York, right? So well,
Yeah, that was
Jackson Hole, so
21.
New York,
I was st no, I guess I was 22 when I came back,
and then set
and,
up shop in Orlando.
nope, nope. I ended up, where did I go? I went back up to Connecticut, did a little bit of writing, um, and then I linked up with Omar Santana, who's a big producer, has done a lot of major label stuff, and everything. Is the reason that I found him actually is because my manager wanted me to put out some music because I was also producing, but I wasn't great. I was just kind of starting out, but. Um, he was like, "Hey, let's link up to, you know, your favorite record label. Give me a list of your favorite labels." And I found a record on a record label called Tricked Out Recordings. So he got a hold of him, and he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, man. I don't release on that label anymore. That label's done." And he's like, "Well, I think you should really meet my guy, blah blah blah." And anyway, we got it set up. I went out to LA to go and record with him. We did some stuff together, and then I came back, and he ended up moving back to New York while I was in Connecticut, and I ended up just going down there and working in the studio with him there, and we just started writing music and like basically from when we woke up to when we went to bed, we were just writing music nonstop. He had his main studio in one room, and I had like the B studio in the other room, and I had like a little futon that I could sleep on, and yeah, it was a crazy house. It was haunted too in the basement, so it was really
Okay, I can see
interesting.
we're gonna have to have like an ongoing series of podcasts to go over the little breakthroughs here and talk about the haunted house, the bus
Yeah,
trip across America. I mean,
yeah,
I can tell there's stories inside stories
yeah.
on this. So
Oh
then,
God, so
still
much.
young, but you've already accomplished so much. Did you? I mean, I was reading about, and I had not heard of the award that you won. Maybe you can actually explain to us what it is and where it comes from, but it's like a big deal, man. Like you won a big award, like major award. Breaks Bowl?
Yeah, it's called Breaks Pull. Yeah. So Breaks Pull. The last year that they did it was hold on, I got it. The last year that I did it was or last year they did it was 2015, but I won in 2014. And it was for best new producer. Like, well, I think it was breakout producer was the title, and then it went to best new producer the year after. But basically I was working for Disney and Hollywood Records and living in New Mexico at the time, in the mountains, and um, I was doing a lot of pop stuff and a lot of dubstep and stuff. But I always really liked the music that I started writing to begin with, which is breakbeat, like where you're talking about icy and stuff. That's all
Yeah.
breakbeat.
Yeah.
Um, and I really like doing that, so I just started doing a bunch of those tracks on the side, and and then I just sent them out to a record label in Spain that was number one at the time, and I was like, "Hey, you guys interested in these?" And they say, "Yeah, we'll take them all," and they put them out, and and yeah, and somebody told me, "Hey, you're nominated for Breaks Poll," and I couldn't believe it, and I went and I looked it up, and I was there,
Verified.
one of the nominees, and so yeah, I was like, "There's no way I'm gonna win," It just kind
Way
of
to be
came out of the
positive,
blue, and
man.
then
Way to be positive.
yeah, yeah, but it just then that day they did the drawing, and I came up and I won, and I'm like, "Holy shit!"
Did you have to
That
give an awards speech? Is it
so
on the internet? Can I find it?
no, no, I don't. This was like before. This was like when the only radio shows were just like music, their sound. There wasn't video
There's
yet
no
because it
video
was
yet?
like too
Okay.
much bandwidth.
Yeah, man, we
No,
are dating ourselves big time. So did you already have your
I
label
know.
by then? EGL?
No, 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 that was way before. But yeah, I started putting out stuff on it's called the Pootie Club Records in Spain, and I put those, I put those out for a few years with them, and then I did a bunch of different projects with a lot of different people, working on like bomb tracks and put stuff out on WD and WD Genuine WD Records. And then we started a record label called Voodoo King Records. I used to live with the guy from Jackal and Hyde named Scott Weiser. He's a really good producer too. Um, done a lot of really amazing work. Um, but he'd gone through a breakup with his fiance, and he came and lived with me um, for a few years, and we started a record label together in Louisiana called Voodoo King Records, and got that up and running. And I just ran out of money, honestly, while I was out there, and I had to go back to my roots and come back to Florida. And yeah, didn't see much return on anything. No, it got harder. It's crazy because when we first started putting music out on records, you could count on it sustaining that month. If you put out a record every month, you could sustain on or count on it sustaining you like your living expenses for that month, you know.
Yeah,
But
actually selling
once it went to
records, right?
digital,
When
yeah,
we said
actually selling
selling
physical
actual
records,
records.
right?
Not
Yeah,
anymore,
and
right? Now the transitioning.
but yeah, yeah, it started getting worse, but that's when I kind of just decided I wanted to go back to just production and stuff, and I got a job offer to go work at Skylab Studios in Gainesville.
Mm.
So I went out there and started working there, and I was a recording engineer, mix and mastering engineer. Yeah, I got to work with some amazing mix engineers, recording engineers. Jerry King, he's incredible. He he was the one that was credited doing the track "Come and Feel My Energy." You
Oh
might
yeah.
remember that one.
Yeah, yeah.
Come
Well, I
and feel my
noticed a couple
energy.
names that I do recognize that Rabbit in the Moon, first of all, is to me one of the greatest ever. Like I think they're
Oh yeah,
incredible.
he's incredible, man. One of my all-time favorite groups
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah,
Yep,
for sure. Like
yep,
so I was like, "Ooh, wow, I want to know about that." I mean,
yeah.
same time frame and
I did
era, I guess.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I've always been a huge fan of them.
You got
Yeah,
Magnus, you got
that-
Zardonic. I mean, there's a long list of some pretty big names. The Crystal Method.
yeah,
That was like
yeah.
everywhere for a while when records existed, right?
Oh man, yeah.
Before.
I think between Rabbit in the Moon, Crystal Method, Kyoki, and um, yeah, I mean those and Prodigy. Those were like the main. That's what I listened to all the time. If
Okay,
I
yeah.
had a 5 disc changer, you'd find all four of those CDs in it at all times, and
Karaoke is
maybe trade
amazing.
out one. Yeah.
So so
Um,
you transitioned into ownership of your own studio during the time when records were transitioning into digital recordings?
yeah. Well, it wasn't my studio. I was more working with other people that had cooler studios than me because
Yeah,
I didn't really
gotcha.
have much of a studio. But I'd always ask everyone like, how did you get such an awesome studio? They're like one piece of gear at a time,
Yeah, exactly.
and that's really what
So
that's
what it
really what
takes,
it
right?
takes.
So it's like a photographer.
Yeah,
I was a photographer for years, and people would be like, "Where do you get all those lenses? And how do you buy all those?" I was like, "One piece at a time," and they just add up over a bit. Like it
yeah,
is what it is. You do one six
yeah.
months here, you do another one when you can, and next thing you know, you got a whole briefcase full of camera gear you're carrying around. Just
Might
farther
not be
than
able to eat. Might not be able to eat tonight, but you know what?
that's right. I
Pictures are
need
gonna
this
be awesome.
lens. I need this lens. That's right. My pictures will make up for how hungry I am. I'll get through it, right?
Mhm.
So then
Totally.
you've had a lot of international gigs too. I mean, overseas, you spent a lot of time, it looks like. And
Yeah.
did you
Yeah,
get to go anywhere cool?
UK and Germany, Czech, Poland, Austria.
Nice.
Um,
Did you hear
yeah,
that they're gonna do
a lot of places.
a rave at the Coliseum?
In Italy?
Yes.
Or in no way.
Yes, the actual Coliseum. They're gonna host a rave there. They're gonna open it back up for a rave. I don't know if they're gonna do many of them, but I think they're talking about making it a stop or a series to whatever. And so I was just reading an article about it, and I don't know, who knows if there's a lot of truth to it, but I was like, "What? They're gonna use the Coliseum? That would be so insane to DJ at the Coliseum!" Like
Oh, no.
I would
Or
just quit
imagine,
after that. That's like a mic drop. I'm out. I'm not ever doing it again. Like that's
yeah,
insane.
that's a good way to walk away from your career with that one.
Close your career up.
Like, yep.
Nobody could fault you on that one. They're like, that was an exit. That was well done. Well
Yeah,
done. Play.
like, there is nothing else that's better.
That's right. I've hit the
But,
pinnacle.
no, the Pope threw a big rave too. Did you see that?
Saw that.
That was
Yeah.
wild.
Wow. What a
Yeah, I never thought
great
I'd see
concept.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, we got a pretty cool
but,
Pope. And so you've gotten all
yeah,
these
right?
awards, international play. I mean, you went from records to CDs, I'm guessing, or to actual
Yeah,
electronic
I had
music.
to do,
Tell me what
the
you think as a
the switch.
producer about the music industry and how it's going now with AI, because I know that that's a big game changer as well. I mean, to me, back in the day, if you weren't spinning vinyls and making a mix, then you weren't a real DJ. And then it's like these kids today are mixing on their phones and making these incredible tracks, but now you don't even have to. Now you have AI that'll mix for you. So where is it going with the music industry? I mean, are people going to die off out of this thing, or is there got to always be somebody to hit enter?
Nah, I think AI is just gonna become a tool like everything else, you know? I think if you're a producer and you write a whole track with AI, then you kinda, like, miss the point. Like, 'cause most producers don't produce music to have a great track, they just like doing it.
Yeah.
So it's like it's the process that's the fun part, and, like, getting
Right.
together with all your friends and, you know, coming up with your happy accidents, you know, stuff that, you didn't maybe the reverb put out some really weird noise, and you catch it, and then you use it as, like, your hook. It's like, weird shit like that.
Yeah. That's how all the
That's the
it's
whole
the
fun of
process,
writing
right? The
music.
process.
Yeah.
That's where the
But
win
I
is.
think, like, the way that you said, like, putting your track in and then going through and finding what style, I think using that like a tool is a great thing. I think it's able to like save a lot of time um for your idea to come up with the best maybe the best style, like you said, like the best style of what fits your thing, especially if you don't know what you're doing at first. But if
Yeah.
you can find that and then say, okay, this is the concept, and then you go to a producer and you work with a producer and you make it from scratch, then it becomes art. And that's the difference,
That's where
because the
that's
production.
where I saw the value too, is in the regular everyday people that have something to say. Like me, I've written lyrics and I have all kinds of books of words. I don't know how you want to phrase it because I'm not a poet or I don't claim to be any of those things. But I mean, if they wanted to make a song or you needed to make a song, in my case, you could sing and put it together, and then you could figure out, okay, what sound works for me, and then go to someone like you and say, hey, does this make sense to you as well? And like, you know what I mean? So then it's like but it's opening the door for everyday people that are not musicians to become singer songwriters. And if they have what it takes, as far as if the lyrics are good and their sound is good, now they can go into music. And I think it's going to open the door for a lot of people to be able to make that transition. But I think you're right. There can't be, if you're making all the production through using these AI sources and it's not real, which I heard 2 of the top 10 songs right now that are out are made by AI. I don't know if that's true or not, but
Well,
interesting
that's
stats.
also that's also that's also AI telling you that it's top. You get AI can write the song, and then it's backed by a million AI bots, and
That's
then,
right. Who knows
at
whether or
some
not
point,
any of
yeah, us humans are like, "Eh." But I mean, dude, I mean, it sounds really good, but at the same time, like, you could tell because they never take breaths, and,
Nobody
and it
knows.
seems like it's just they're always exhaling,
If
and
you
it's
try to
like
sing like
and then
AI, you're gonna die. That's the warning right there. They need a label. Like, don't
that
try to
is
keep up
very
with the
true.
AI. It doesn't breathe.
Yeah, yeah,
That's a
yep,
good point. Plus, like you said, all the good stuff comes from the
yeah,
mistakes and the music that, the behind the scenes stuff. I mean, I like watching those videos back in the 70s, like when you watched the Bohemian Rhapsody, and how they came out with the songs they did. It was from, anything they could find that could make noises was what they used. And that was the creative part of the whole process that made those songs timeless, in my opinion.
yeah, that's the art, that's when you're turning your song into a piece of art. I mean, and that's how I look at production too, is that it's kinda like painting with noise,
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
just,
That's a great way to look
like,
at it.
Sean was in here last week, and we were talking about, um, you know, putting music together and stuff, and I was like, "It is kinda like Bob Ross," you, like, start with your, like, background noises and stuff and make a nice sound bed and stuff, and then, you put your drums in and stuff, and you build it up, and you're essentially just building energy and manipulating people's emotions through your music. Hopefully, that's what you wanna do,
Yeah,
but,
it's exactly,
um,
exactly.
yeah,
Maybe
so,
not manipulating, we'll say, inspiring people.
yeah, I
Manipulation
mean,
would be
I mean, yeah, I mean, you want somebody to feel a certain way when you write it, like, because you're feeling a certain way and you're hoping that that transposes over,
yeah,
you
yeah, yeah,
know,
absolutely,
um,
agreed. 100%. That's how I like my
Yeah,
podcast to feel. I feel like people to feel like it's an experience. Like we had a great time and it was enjoyable, but you got to feel my energy. And, even though it's digital and we don't get to actually be in the same place, I can't go talk to everybody. I talk to people all over the world. How am I going to get those people to come here or me there? Like I could try, but I'll never. And it's like, man, the internet's created that big, massive opportunity for me to share. Like I had my Sri Swami from India who has a 500-year lineage with yoga back to in his own family, who I'm going to stay with next month to do my 21-day grandmastership of meditation. And, I had him on my show. I don't know if anybody's ever had a Sri Swami from India on a podcast before, but I have. And so, then the internet makes that possible, the
amazing.
World Wide Web. You can just talk to someone in a village in the middle of nowhere. And so I'm going to be going to Pondicherry, India. And then I'm taking, the United States for the first world championships of yoga as
That's
the,
so cool, man.
yeah, dude. So there's
Wow.
some cool stuff going. It's going simultaneously. I'm going to do them both in March. But it's going to be great because then I come back and get to be a grandmaster of meditation, which, no small feat there for a guy like me, man. I come from Daytona and being a grandmaster of anything, but being the first one in America for yoga, to be backed by the
That's amazing.
people that I'm backed by is really a cool thing. And like you said, when you set out to make music, you just set out to make music. You didn't set out to achieve the titles of whatever that people give you. And someone once asked me on social media, like, "Hey, are you okay calling yourself a master of yoga?" And I was like, "Well, I don't refer to myself as a master of yoga. It's a title that I earned just like a doctorate degree or anything else, And so, and they understood what I was saying and they were very nice about it. But it was like, I'm not the one, I don't walk around calling myself Master Chris, or Grandmaster Chris. It's just it's something, it's a title that I've earned through 20 years of hard work and, put myself in.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
so and there's very few people who can carry it, which is like, all right. It just makes me feel old to have now Grandmaster because when I got promoted, I was like, master of yoga is cool, but a grandmaster sounds really old. Like it sounds like a grandpa, or grandma. I was like, damn, am I that old? I guess I have been
So
doing
I'm
this for
I'm
20
big I'm
years.
big I have never done yoga before because, and I probably should,
You
honestly,
should.
but meditation, I love meditation, I meditate all the time, I think it's a wonderful thing, I think most people should do that, set aside some time to do that, in the morning or at night or whatever, whenever you have some time, I think that that helps, especially, like, before you go into your work day or whatever, when you kinda, like, um, you know you kind of just put all your thoughts in order and just kind of like be peaceful before you go out. Lets you deal with the day in a different way, you know,
Yeah, how you start your
'cause,
day, very important. And meditation
yeah,
is the key to everything. I mean, now you can
yeah,
see
I try
all
to
the,
do
there's
that.
tons of info out there about people tapping into higher versions of themselves, healing themselves, learning about the power of breath work,
Mhm.
and it's only now hitting the surface of people. But 20 years ago, I learned about this when I was trying to keep myself cruising along after my injuries from the military. And, they were really starting to hurt my life. And so I was like, man, I got to find a way. So fell into this yoga thing and I was like, all right, I'm going to dedicate 90 days to it. And that was 20 something years ago. And I've been 55 countries around the
Nice.
world and I've taught all over the place. And I'm now grandmaster and blah blah blah. And it's like, but all I wanted to do was heal my body. I just wanted to, but also learn how to heal my mind, learn how to heal. And and you have to do it every day. You're never healed. You're always reprogramming. You're always reprogramming. And really, the
Yeah,
one thing
you're right.
you can do if you meditate simply on the word gratitude every day, and you just focus on being grateful for anything and everything that happens, you're gonna have. And a lot of people will look at me and go, I don't understand. I'm like, I know, but just trust me on this one, like you're so far
You
away from
will.
being grateful. You will, right? You will, but follow my steps. But I think,
Yeah,
there's so much truth to that. So it's and I'm sure for you, what you do for a living is a meditation. I mean, sitting down and making
it
music
really is.
is meditative
Mhm.
by itself. I mean, that's
Yeah,
something that I could
yeah.
definitely see. I could get locked
Yeah,
into it.
you get lost, I mean, I'll come in here, I don't have any windows in here or anything, and I'll just come in, if I'm inspired, man, I'll go until I literally fall asleep in my chair, but it's like, you're, like, in another world,
Yeah.
like, put those headphones on, you close your eyes and you're making the music, you're, like, designing it's another dimension, it's like you're listening to all the music, but it kinda takes you to a different place, you
So tell
know?
me how you
And,
do that. So tell me how does it start for you? Do you start with a beat? Do you start with a like what is it that makes your engine move? I mean, I've never understood the process of making music. I understand the process of writing lyrics, but I don't understand the process of making music. So tell me a little bit about how you do that because I would love to know like what triggers it for you. Is there like a beat that you really like? You know, that kind of thing.
I think it's kinda different every time, and I think I try to, like, find a different way to step up to it every time, but I think for the most part, I like really cool pads and sound effects and stuff, like, in the background, like, kind of, like, some cinematic element, stuff like that, that kinda sets, like, like, depth to the song,
Hmm.
you know, and then start adding, like, some percussion or hi-hats or something, um, just to kind of, like, build the anticipation, like, kind of add a add I mean, it's all just building it up and what makes you excited as the producer because, if you don't think it's cool, then it won't work for anybody else either. You know, you have to be really excited about what you're doing. So it doesn't always happen. Like I've written so many tracks. I have probably 1,000 tracks I will never put out that are just kind of ideas. I call them trunk tracks because I start on them and I get to a certain point and then I just throw them in the trunk. And then if I ever if I have a project that I'm working on, I have like tons of different ideas I can go through and pull up with whatever artist I'm working with or whatever to already have like kind of um you know a bunch of a lot less time to start the project and all the boring shits out of the way. Because it's hard to get inspired by a pad and a hi-hat. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
exactly. Well, that's I don't know
You
what
kind
they
of want
are,
to
so
plug
that's
in a bunch
probably
of
gonna
stuff.
hurt me, huh?
Yeah, and
You know, like,
usually when I'm working with artists, that's when they wanna go to sleep. They're like, "All right, is this is production? This is boring." I'm like, "Yeah,
can I just send you
it's a
the
lot of."
lyrics and here's the
Yeah.
recording. Can you just make a song around it? That's which do you think works better? Like writing the music and then getting the lyrics or getting the lyrics and writing the music to the lyrics?
What's worked for me the best way is just, is coming up with, like, a foundation, but not like a finished track or anything, just kind of like a foundation where I don't have very much going on yet. um, and maybe have like the key set, and then I'll introduce the vocals, and then it's a lot easier to write around the vocals, as in my experience anyway. Because then you're kind of letting the vocals create the song, like vocal forward creating the song, versus just trying to jam them in something that doesn't work.
Well,
You know,
that's gonna be a good segue
yeah,
for us to plug your stuff real quick because we're gonna hit our time limit for the show, and then we can transition into, hey, we're gonna make some music. I'm gonna give you some vocals, and we're gonna see what you can do with them. And
yeah, I
then
can't wait,
we'll
man.
report back to the audience later with another podcast and show them the results of that. So this will be like a to be continued moment. But before I do, tell everybody where they can find you and where they can get your music and everything.
You just go to Evan Gamble Lewis. You can find me on Spotify or Pandora, any of the major outlets that you listen to music on. Yeah, definitely go check out my music, see what you think, and yeah, and then we'll get on your track and
Yeah, we're
be
gonna go
pretty
make some
awesome.
music, guys. I'm gonna give him some lyrics and some music and or some some singing, and he's gonna turn it into masterpiece. Watch. Come back to round two to be
Yeah.
continued. And then the bus story, and then we're gonna talk about the haunted house story. Evan Gamble, thank you, brother. I appreciate you, man. Thanks for being on the show. Let
All
me
right,
stop this
thank
thing
you,
so we can
man.
talk. Woo woo.
All right.